Welcome to First Garden, New Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. Well, as a new gardener or even an avid or professional gardener, failure is part of the game of gardening. Whether you have weeds, whether you have plants that don't germinate, or you have plants that germinate but die. We've had several failures so far this year in the garden. Some are partial, some are total failures. I'll go over a couple of them so you don't feel like you're the only one having a failure problem. Now, you're going to kill plants, we kill plants, everybody kills plants. That's part of the gardening routine. We'll talk about the peas here. This is a failure or partial failure. We planted these very early on. We've got good compost raised bed mix, and they just haven't taken off. And there could be a variety of different reasons for this, and we're still figuring it out. Could be an old seeds, could be a bug in the soil, could be a lot of different things, but this is a failure or partial failure. We'll continue to let these peas go until they get mature, and we'll harvest what we can off, but we'll turn that failure into another crop as we will plant cucumbers for our fall crop in behind these peas when they get done. Another failure, or two that is our eggplants and our tomatoes. So our eggplants, we planted 13 eggplants on a previous video. We've gotten 2 to survive. Now our eggplants were very small. We did purchase one from a local independent garden center. Now we're not big, avid, eat eggplant in every meal type of family, but we would like to grow as many as we can. So because of that, we will still have eggplant. However, we will support our local farmers markets and purchase eggplant there. Our bigger crops of choice is tomatoes, potatoes, cucumbers, and beans. Our tomato bed is doing very well here. However, we had a couple of purchase plants that we got that I came in one day in the garden, and they were completely mowed down. We believe it was from cutworms. Now, all the other plants, we have 30 in this bed, the 28 other tomato plants did just fine. So it's one of those things, it's a sporadic thing that happens, but we replanted. We had a lot of extra plants in our repertoire that we had started this year. So it is a failure, but we was able to replant and keep moving. Another problem that we had was we planted asparagus early May. The asparagus sat in the ground until early June. I never saw anything sprout, so I dug it up. We bought that from an independent garden center locally. It was in a box inside the store, not outside. The roots did look somewhat dry and not super healthy at the time of planting, but we went ahead and hydrated them for a couple of hours before planting them in a compost heap, put them in the ground, and nothing happened. So we returned those and paid more of a premium at another garden center for good, healthy one-year asparagus crowns. They were already sprouting before I got them in the ground this past week, so they will be just fine. So be aware of the condition of the plant prior to planting. We made that mistake. We should have went with the more, just because it's cheap doesn't always mean it's a good thing to purchase in the plant world. You pay for what you get. So those are some failures in which we've had in our garden, and you have the occasional, as you see in the bean bed here, the occasional bean that doesn't germinate, or it doesn't germinate in the same speed as the rest of them do. I was going to replant them, but however I started digging, the seeds were already sprouting under the ground. They just hadn't popped up yet. So some seeds, even though they are part of the variety in which you planted, are slower to germinate than their buddies are. So it's not a failure, it's just something to keep in mind. But failures happen all the time in the garden. Do not feel like you are the only one. It happens to the best of us. It happens to all of us. This has been First Garden, New Gardener. I'm Joy Baird. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, rate, and comment.